households could be living in fuel poverty by the end of October. That's a prediction of one charity following a recent forecast of even further energy price hikes.
Well, from October 2021 until March this year, the average UK household's energy bill was £1,277. After the price cap changed in April, this rose to the current figure of £1,971.
Forecasters now predict this will increase by 65% in October to £3,244 a year. And then it could go up even further in January to £3,363.
It's just staggering, isn't it, to see those figures laid out like that? Well, one campaign group are calling for people to stop paying their energy bills altogether if companies don't reduce them to an affordable level by the 1st of October.
But is refusing to pay the right way to protest about price hikes. Here's what you had to say.
Something has to be done, and maybe if that's a solution or if that helps, people have to take a stance in some way.
I don't think not paying bill is a legitimate way to protest because, well, you use the facilities, you have to pay for it, right?
If you're desperate and you've got a choice between feeding your kids, then, yeah, I think it's fair.
I don't know if anyone would listen to it, if it'd make a difference.
If we all did it together, then I think it would help.
Well, to discuss this further, we're joined by Simon, who is one of the local community organisers for Don't Pay UK, the campaign group calling on people to not pay their bills. Good morning to you, Simon. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
So, look, what inspired you to want to join the group and take part?
Well, I was looking at the situation and what was happening with the rapid price increases in April. My energy provider went bust and I had to move to another energy provider, and the direct debit they were asking for, the standing order, was extortionate. And then I could, we can all see what's about to happen in October. And then I saw this campaign, Don't Pay, on Facebook, and I looked at it and thought, yeah, that could work. If a million people get together, if we can get a million people together, spread this. And I think we can see from the Vox Pops you've just done, the idea is already out there. If we can get a million people together and do this, and I think we can bring the companies to the table and try and deliver affordable energy for everyone.
Why do you think that's going to work, though? I mean, if people just don't pay their bills, the energy companies will go, oh, OK, well, in that case, we'll put the prices down.
I think, effectively, they will have to be brought to the negotiating table if enough people do this. I think we have to look at the system and how it's set up and look at the vast profits that have been made by the energy suppliers, the energy companies, and think, OK, that money could be redistributed. There is no need for these extortionate energy bills.
What about the concerns regarding the legality of this, Simon, and the fact that you're asking people to stop paying their energy bills, which, of course, could affect all sorts of things, their credit rating, could lead to criminal charges, potentially, if they're just seen to be stealing energy?
Or they could be cut off.
Yeah, so we're not advocating that anyone steals energy, anyone abstracts electricity. What we're talking about here is a mass renegotiation so that we cancel our direct debits, we pay what we can afford, and I think if enough people do that, I think the companies, the government will have to see sense and come to the table.
But isn't it stealing it, though, if you're using the electricity but you're not paying for it?
No, and I think nobody's talking about not paying for the energy we use, talking about renegotiating the terms on which we pay for it.
But you're just going to say, this is the price that I'm prepared to pay, no matter what the energy company has to pay to be able to get that energy to you?
I mean, obviously, they're in a position where they can effectively extort as much as they want to take, and we're saying, no, that's not acceptable. There's too many people in this country who cannot afford, now having to make this choice between heating and eating, and that's not acceptable.
The people that you're recruiting to this campaign, are you specifically targeting people who are struggling with their energy bills, or would you like everybody to join, even those who could afford the energy despite the cost?
Oh, absolutely. I think we need everyone to stand together on this. I mean, this issue does affect absolutely everyone. I don't think you have to wait until the crisis is actually nipping at your heels. Although it is, I think there's huge swathes of the population that are now being confronted with this. I mean, this is what you hear people talking about. As I think was shown in your Vox Pops you just did, this is what you hear people talking about on the school run when you go to work. It's like, how am I going to afford this? If this goes up by 65% in October, how can I afford it?
I just want to put a statement to you we've had from Energy UK. They're talking about suppliers continuing to do all they can to support customers. They say, while the current government support package is very welcome, if bills are going to be even worse than have been predicted, further government intervention will be necessary. So they're making the point that they want the government to be able to help out with this. They've also said that energy bills have reached these record levels because of the unprecedented cost of gas on the wholesale market. Suppliers need to be able to cover the cost of buying energy, otherwise we could see even more of them go out of business. So that's, for them, is the potential consequences, isn't it? That's why they're having to charge the money that they're charging.
I mean, correct in a sense, but the way the energy market works in this country is completely bizarre. So these companies that you get your bill from, they don't own any infrastructure, they don't own any energy generation or the network across which the power is transmitted. They're a bunch of middlemen, essentially. And so we need to get the energy directly from the people generating it, who are making enormous profits, and redistribute that. And this kind of weird casino that was set up by the government of energy middlemen, these sort of spivvish energy middlemen, we just need to discard that entirely and not be propping that market up anymore.
So what happens if these 1 million people, if you manage to recruit that many, or 500,000, let's say you get half of them, they stop paying, the energy companies just cut them off, and then suddenly they're cut off and they have no form of energy, no form of heating as we head in towards the winter?
I mean, I think as in Martin Lewis has pointed out, I mean, they cannot cut off 1 million people. It takes a long time for the energy companies to cut anyone off. And I think if the groundswell of this campaign, I think we can see it's growing. I think there'll be a sensible solution to this long before that becomes a necessity.
But do you think, would you be prepared to live without electricity, though, to make your point on it?
I don't think I'll have to.
Yeah, but that's the reality of what you're suggesting, though. They have the right to do that. These energy companies can just cut you off if you're not paying your bills.
They've got the right to put you on a prepayment meter. Citizens Advice Bureau has got very good section on what to do if you can't afford to pay your electricity bill, your gas bill. I suggest people go and have a look at that and see how the system actually works.
But that's if you can't afford it. You would be making a choice, wouldn't you, not to afford it?
I mean, to what extent, when do we say can or can't afford? I mean, do we actually have to get to the point when we're choosing whether to eat or heat? Do we really want to put people in that position?
OK, we're going to leave it there, Simon. We appreciate you joining us this morning. As Simon was saying, there is a lot of advice out there if you are struggling to pay your energy bills. First of all, of course, you should contact your supplier. Under Ofgem rules, your supplier has to help you, and there are a range of options that they can offer, which include a payment plan review, affordable debt repayment plans, payment breaks or reductions, more time to pay, or access to hardship funds.
Well, it's important to remember repayment must be based on your ability to pay, so do get in touch with your supplier as soon as possible. And also, if you've been affected by debt issues, you can find advice and support at itv.com/helpline.
A lot of support for Simon from our viewers this morning. For 1 month, pay no energy bills and then watch the companies panic. TM says it's not a matter of not paying. People don't have the money to pay. Sue says we're getting robbed by these energy companies. They can't keep putting it up. It's just greed. Jasmine says, remember the poll tax. We united, we stand. Darn right to not pay energy bills. Why should they profit while the UK struggles? But Charlotte says if you don't pay your energy bill, then the energy company will force you onto a prepaid meter. I have experience of them. They are awful. Count me out of this. That's the experience that she's had. Gary says it's not the answer to not pay your energy bills.
We're going to be speaking to Martin Lewis later on in the programme today anyway, so we'll be getting his thoughts on that movement, what he thinks about that. And also, I think, you know, what the answer is to these unsustainable increases in energy bills. More from him coming up later.